beautiful people. Happy Sunday, December 6th. Bobby Awesome here. Welcome to 321 No Kidding. Yesterday, I gave you a challenge based off the reading to do cleaning up some tasks or baggage from the past, removing some clutter. And I committed that I would do the same. So although I did not finish the family tree task, which I'm trying to do, I did make some progress on it and ask for help in the right places. And I still have to get together that piece of mail, which hopefully I'll do as soon as I'm done talking to you. All right, let's see what wisdom and homework we get today off of today's reading. Somebody named Menander says, being a man never ask the gods for life set free from grief, but ask for courage that endureth long. All right, let me try this again, see if we can get the right context. Being a man never ask the gods for life set free from grief, but ask for courage that endureth long. If we feel God has not heard our prayers, perhaps we're asking the wrong questions. How often have we sat alone wishing that God would end our suffering, wishing that just this once, God, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you. Maybe what we need is not an end to our suffering, but the courage and guidance from our higher power to see it through and trust that whatever befalls us is necessary for our continued growth and recovery. God knows the path we are to follow. God knows the struggles that will make us better human beings. It takes humility to accept and understand God's will for us might include suffering, but humility is the doorway to compassion and thus to the loving company of other people. I'm asking God for courage and guidance. We free ourselves to accept it. In asking God for courage and guidance, we free ourselves to accept it. Today, help me ask for the courage to endure whatever happens. Another one of those repeating themes, right? And I think we've even talked about it in the last couple of weeks because it tied into my stress a little bit, like letting go and counting the blessings of the situation that I was having that I refuse to talk about anymore. I wrote my forgiveness letter to him this morning, and I'm going to get it off of my plate. So this is actually, I'm speaking at a conference next weekend, and this is actually the topic I'm going to speak on to try to help new entrepreneurs. And this is kind of the focus, is the gratitude for the things that have happened to us along the way. Because I think that that's what the reading is missing as far as how I do my practice of this. So sharing with them that we need to be grateful as a foundation, and then all of the little or big trials and tribulations that come along with being an entrepreneur, just like us in recovery, or those of you who listen that aren't necessarily involved in addiction and just try to learn from some of these lessons. It's a reframe to asking for the strength to get through whatever the situation is. And it could be, so yesterday we talked about the baggage and cleaning up stuff. Maybe it's asking for the strength to get through that. That's what puts us on our path. Maybe those things needed to happen. Maybe the results of those conversations need to happen, if it's something involving other people. Because I believe this, it's real easy for me to say it. I can look back at seriously every little speed bump or whatever and express gratitude for it and know that it has a role. Now, some things I don't know about. I don't know the rhyme or reason, like when that family junk that's still going on, to the best of my knowledge, that I'm just not finding the reason of why these guys are still not talking, and why they're, I still don't get it, I guess, is the moral of the story. And it bothers me even more because one of the people has over 20 years clean time from alcohol. So it really, really, really bugs me that now this isn't me coming from judgment, but this is me coming from experience or whatever, that, and this is what I shouldn't do, is set expectations. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm holding the one in sobriety a little bit higher than the other one who doesn't have exposure to like the 12 steps or practicing forgiveness and letting go and trusting the higher power and all the things that we're talking about. I'm probably putting a little more pressure on him mentally than the other one. But, you know, it's going to have its value. It's going to have its purpose, whatever that purpose is. I can't control that situation. I need to let it go. And hopefully the two fellas, you know, most impacted by this will find both the courage to get through it and the awareness that it has some sort of value. I don't think that'll happen, but I can hope for it to happen. Like, there's a reason this battle is happening and continuing. Just like I think of this, okay, so my BFF, for example, she's freaking amazing at her job, amazing at learning new jobs, just an amazing worker. I mean, she's amazing for a bunch of other reasons. But I've been with her at different steps of the way in her career. And there's been times that she thought she should have gotten a promotion when she hadn't. And of course, I'm going to favor her side because I know what she's capable of. But sometimes we've gotten a little impatient, right? Like, why did that guy get picked over her or whatever? And she always comes out on the other side of it. Just, I mean, she goes through the roller coaster of emotions, but then she always just still has the same work ethic, accepts it, and keeps going. And now the big promotion just happened recently in the last month or two. I don't know. It's been too long since I've actually seen her because now she's on a different shift. And I'm trying to not be bitter, but I miss her. Anyway, if, let's say, and I don't know off the top of my head right now how this would translate into life. Maybe, you know, she doesn't get the promotion. This is the way it could have went, right? And you can apply this to whatever pops into your head, but this is what's popping in my head right now. One way to handle it would have been to quit, right? Like, she could quit the job, quit doing a good job, quit performing, quit excelling. She could have got her pissy pants on. She could have left the job completely and found another job. She could have done a lot of things. I don't know. I can't speak for her believing in the universe or any of her thoughts or whatever. But she didn't change her character or values. She just knew she had to be patient. It might not have felt good along the way, but she had to be patient. And then she was rewarded in the time frame that it was supposed to happen. Not on her time frame, not on my time frame, but it happened the way it was supposed to happen. That is, of course, if we believe, you know, that new mantra that I told you I've learned and I love, which is everything is perfect and everything is improving. If we start thinking about things this way, guys, and I think the reason the recovery literature brings this up so much is so that we get programmed to think this way. Otherwise, this is what happens. If we hang on to the stuff, the bad situations, the stress, the things that cause us to be impatient, all of those things, it all goes back to the bucket principle. If we're hanging on to those things, our buckets are full with that negative energy, that negative junk. So by having faith in whatever, you know, I can say the traditional 12-step doorknob, universe, God, whatever you want to call it. I still am liking this love source concept in this new challenge I'm doing. But whatever that is for you, if you can just turn it over and trust that it's working out the way it's supposed to, as well as, you know, have the courage and the strength to get through it and express gratitude for that to whoever, the doorknob, love source, God, whatever. you will have less reasons to go out and gamble, to have an attitude, to be miserable around your friends and family, to waste moments being stressed or frustrated. Now, as you see from me, because I know all this, right? But there's still days that some days I can buy into it 100%, and some days I struggle with it. Or I know it mentally, I just am having a hard time executing it and going through my feelings. I show you that because it does take practice. I'm not perfect at it. I don't expect you to be perfect at it. But I do ask and suggest that you work on this. And what I'm asking you to work on ultimately is faith or belief in something. One of the examples before I even had this premise, like I've always had this underlying belief that everything happens for a reason. And one of the examples that I can remember being very conscious about for many years was having to do with being late or early or things that go wrong. And there was a Mother's Day, I don't know, 10 years ago now. I have no sense of time at the moment. But I was supposed to go deliver flowers for a store. And I go out in my brand new vehicle that I bought on April 15th. And this is Mother's Day, so it's not even 3 weeks old. I go out and there's a flat tire and I end up late. And the way I think about that is maybe the flat tire saved me from being on the highway at the exact moment that something bad would have happened. Like maybe if I was on that highway, I would have got hit by another car. Something bad would happen. That's how I frame it. And essentially, if I think of it that way, then I could be like, oh, maybe the flat tire saved my life. Maybe it saved me pain. Maybe whatever. It's just one example. And it's a simpler one. And maybe that's where we start, is by believing the simpler ones. Like, okay, that didn't pan out for whatever reason. Like I've shared with you, my career is so blatantly obvious that not only the why I didn't get what I want, but how that served me now. If I will continue to say it, if I had gotten my dream of being a VP, I got the knowledge of being a VP. I never got the title, but it would not be good. I'd be tied up in that. I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd probably be still drinking like a fish, right? Because those jobs are stressful. And I see what happens to a lot of the executives, and it's really sad how much they hurt their bodies with alcohol to overcome the stress and whatever else they may or may not do. So I'm grateful it didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. And I'm grateful that I had the strength to get through it and to turn it into opportunities, like being here with you right now. That is how I feel about this topic. I love that it keeps showing up because I think it's important for us to be aware of and to practice. And like I said, I've been practicing for a long time, and I still don't always feel it instantly in the heat of the moment. So start practicing this. I promise you, your life will be much better. It will feel better. Maybe not sometimes in the thick of things, but it'll give you peace. The other reference I make on this topic has to do with death. If we lose someone, instead of it being about the loss, it has to be about why were they in our lives. And I guess I shouldn't say it has to be, but it's more comforting to know that they were in our lives and that they were taken for some reason. We may never know. Sometimes it's really confusing when it comes to like losing children or, unexpected, just random things. We ask the why, why, why me, why this person, we don't understand. But we also don't know all the aftermath. I know for me, like one example, well, this is going to get a little dark, but here's an example. When I was 14, I had an uncle that committed suicide, completed suicide, if you use some of my friends' languages. That had always stuck with me through my gambling career. So even when I was in the most trouble, the most debt, the most not good mental place, that always stuck with me. And I always viewed suicide as selfish because we were all left behind and we knew what a better life he could have had. So how I've come to see the value in this, and I know that sounds probably really not good. It's not my intention. But here's how I see it, and this has all happened in the last couple of years. So I never killed myself when I was at the worst of it. And that thought and being a survivor of someone who committed suicide always kept that at bay. So let's say that those thoughts and those actions, led me to feeling that way. Now here I am. I have the opportunity now to spread the message. So maybe, and this is very comforting for me to think of it this way, maybe his actions created this ripple effect. I had that feeling. I went through these experiences, and now I have the ability to share the experiences with people in over 60 countries and, over thousands of cities. So he's creating this opportunity for us to be here together. And then there's gratitude from that, right? Like, thank you, Uncle Charlie, for teaching me this lesson. Thank you for giving me the gift of how my mind works and part of who I am today. It's all perspective, right? And that's how I've come to believe this. And, having a friend that just went through literally watching someone complete suicide in front of them, someone who's attempted suicide and really struggles with it and has different perspectives on it than me. After going through that, like, we had always disagreed on this topic, but now being a survivor, now it's impacting him in a different way. And I can see the things that are happening in his life since this incident are getting better. Again, there's this ripple effect that maybe we see and maybe we don't see, but the reading really reminds us that maybe we should trust. Hopefully my examples help you find a little bit of trust. And I know it's real easy to sit there and go, oh, this sucks and blah, blah, blah. But please give it some consideration. Please look at things that have happened in your life that have had a positive long-term outcome, even when it was maybe negative in the beginning. That's what that's what the message is today. So, all right, beautiful people. I hope that you have a wonderful day.